G'day, VW here, and how you doing? Welcome to the channel, and in today's video we're going back to the Baja to work on the wiring, and I'm going to try and simplify a classic VW's wiring for you to try and make it easier, mainly for myself, but maybe you can learn something from it too. So now that I've installed the switches, you can see the 3 switches there. I've also put in the fuse panel, but if you have a look at what these wires are, so that would be the wire coming from the battery and you can see that's the bridged 3 wires, but then there's wires like this that's going off to a light switch, I think. Oh, this wiring's a complete mess. Here's a cut wire. Here's one that's not even plugged in. I guess the best thing to do is let's go and have a look at a wiring diagram and see if we can understand what's going on, because this is just a spaghetti of wires and I'm not sure this is what VW intended and how they actually designed this. So come here to my trusty VW manual, and I know all the electrical systems at the back. So this is us, wiring diagram for type 1, 1302 from August, mine's a 1971. So that's effectively what we're going to be looking at. So the easiest way to understand the wiring I found was to photocopy a wiring diagram and expand it. So that's what I've done, made a photocopy and blown it up. And then I've taken some colored pens to draw some lines to try and understand what happens, and I'll show you what I've done. It might also help some of you viewers to understand as well. It's not actually as complicated as it all looks, it's actually fairly simple. So in the wiring diagram to start off with, all these little circles over here are really just your indicators, your park lights, headlight, park light, indicators. Same on this side, indicator, tail light, reverse light, number plate light, reverse light, tail light, and your indicators. What I've also done is I've just labelled the bigger items. So there's your battery, that's the starter motor, generator and regulator. Mine's actually got an alternator, so those are together. But there's the coil distributor, that's your fuel and choke cut-offs on your carb. This is the fuel gauge up here. Then the wiper motor. Then the wipers switch. This is the headlight switch. This is the hazard light switch. Then the horn. This is the headlight dipper switch. This is the combination turn signal switch and your ignition. Basically all those controls that are on your steering shaft. So bright and dip, key on, indicators. The power comes straight from the battery and down to the regulator, but in our case that's the alternator. It also heads across up to the fuse panel where it bridges across the fuses 4, 5 and 6. then there's also, from the battery, it goes straight to the starter. From the fuse panel, it then comes down to the combo switch, which is effectively your ignition switch on the steering column. And the other last wire goes to your light switch. What this means is that whether the fuse is blown or not, your combo switch, ignition switch, your light switch, the alternator and the starter all have battery power all the time and are all hot. Then if you look on the other side of the fuse panel, the power comes down and it goes to your hazard switch, and the power also comes down and goes into your light, dip and bright switch. The last one that you can see there coming out that side, which I haven't highlighted, comes right down to the bottom, and that's actually the door switch for when your Beetle when you open your doors, the interior light comes on. Because mine's a convertible, that's all been deleted. I don't have any of that. That's why I haven't shown that. But effectively, without turning any keys or anything on, these are the items that have power all the time from the battery. So the reason I've used red is because the wires in your car are red with color coding. So if you have a look at the little letters here, it actually tells you what color those wires are. So VW in a way have made it easy, so I'm going to use, that's why I've used the red, and I'm going to use now black, which is really what VW use as power cables in the car. And anywhere where you see the brown they use as the ground in the car. So again, they've also made it easy for us, so that also helps if you see the colors of the wires. Black is usually live and brown is ground. So when you turn the key on, the power then goes from the key switch back up to the fuse box and energizes fuse 1, 2 and 3. There's also a bridge across those fuses, so they're all connected. Power then goes to your coil, and then if you come across the fuses at the top, it goes round and power goes to your brake light switches so that you've got brake lights. The second one goes down to your wiper switch, so you've got windscreen wipers, and the bottom splits. The one goes down to the hazard switch, and the last brown wire comes down to the fuel gauge sender unit. The next 4 fuses are very simple because they are the headlights. So in a previous video I spoke about the white and yellow. White is brighter than yellow, so whites are bright, yellows are dip. So when you turn the headlights on, power comes from the headlight switch up to the dim and bright relay. So the power for those fuses comes from the dimmer switch. They then come up and split into 2. So basically each headlight has got its own fuse. So left and right, brights. Those then go through to the headlight. So that part of the circuit is very simple. The dip circuit of the headlights is almost identical. From the dip relay, it comes up on the yellow wires, and then again it splits or feeds 2 fuses, a fuse for left and right headlights, and then goes through to the headlights. The last fuse is for the running lights and your tail lights. So when you turn the light switch on, power then comes up to the fuse. Again, it's split between fuses so that you don't lose all your lights if you blow a fuse. You still have one or the other tail lights. and then you'll see they move forward through to the front park lights or running lights, as well as moving right round to the back to the rear tail lights. So the fuse box is not that difficult actually, because effectively it's running lights, then actually your high and low beams. The next three are actually power on all the time, straight from the battery, and the last three are power on only when you turn your key on. And that's really how it works. So fairly simple when you actually sit down and start drawing lines, and hope that was easier to understand. So all right, thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of that. Take care and God bless. Thanks again for watching, and be sure to like, share, subscribe, and leave me any comments.